Sir,
हाँ
टेबल
टेबल
Sanjay, how is the avionics lab going on?
Sir, we are doing it, sir. Progress is there.
Progress is there. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When shall we have the review, sir?
Uh, yeah, it's coming Thursday. Should be okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay.
Unfortunately, because of this NAC thing going on,
Yes.
too many disturbances. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Again,
morning.
it's sort of an introductory chapter only. Maybe next two classes it will be something what you have already learned in your flight mechanics or introduction to aero. Before that, anything you want to discuss about the previous portion? Any issue just bugging you? And hopefully you would have all downloaded MV Cook. Go for the second edition because the print is much better than that. Okay. If there are no questions, just continue. Okay. Again, to familiarize you people with the nomenclature being used in MV Cook. Concept is nothing new. You're all aware of it. One is mean aerodynamic chord. Again, it's something which is available in any standard flight mechanics books or introduction to aero books. So whenever we are using chord in this course, it's going to be mean aerodynamic chord. Okay. C double bar. Uh, and the distance from the leading edge of the mean aerodynamic chord to CG is given by H. Okay, so these two things will be frequently using. Half span is small s, that is B by 2. And so given any platform, okay, so let us say this is the aircraft and you have a delta wing. So when I talk about this Cy is nothing but what is the y along this, what is this is your y axis and what is the length of the chord at this station y. So that makes it C subscript y. That's what it means. So all you have to do is fit some equation over here in terms of maybe root chord and tip chord. So let us say this is your tip chord. You can always write some standard based on the geometry. You can write the equation and find out C double bar. Okay. Uh, then the distance between the CG up to quarter chord of the tail plane, that is given by L subscript capital T. So this is what we will be using for all this moment lever arms and all. Okay, so again to repeat, I will be using this whenever I talk about chord, it is mean aerodynamic chord. And small s is half span and distance between CG to the leading edge of the mean aerodynamic chord is H. So these three things will be used quite often. Tail volume ratio is something again you people are quite familiar. So here you see it's the mean aerodynamic chord, okay, C double bar. And LT is again distance from CG to the quarter chord of the tail plane. So this distance. ISS wing area. Okay. So for directional control, again we'll have fin moment arm. It's not earlier it was tail moment arm. Now it is fin moment arm. Now if you see it is L with the subscript capital F. That is reference is taken from the CG up to the quarter chord of the mean aerodynamic chord of the vertical fin. Okay. So you consider all vertical fins are symmetrical aerofoils. Okay. So consider if you think that this is a wing that is going to have a chord and that which is varying with the geometry. It's not a perfect rectangle. Uh, so quarter chord of that point, you take that quarter chord, find out the CG of the aircraft, whatever is the distance, that becomes L subscript F. So similar to tail volume ratio, you have the fin volume ratio also. First assignment for you people is again something overlapping with the avionics lab. So all groups are having individual aircrafts. You find out the fin volume ratio and tail volume ratio of your aircraft, and you can forward it to Sanjay in an Excel sheet. Just the fin volume ratio and tail volume ratio. So in this process, you'll be having, what do you think is the difficult part in finding out the, say, tail volume ratio? For your aircraft, for the aircraft which is given.
Momentum.
Momentum. Why momentum? Sorry, this fin moment. Yeah, why Sanjay it's difficult?
Sir, because you need to know the distance from a mean aerodynamic chord of this tail to that of CG.
So
Just find the distance.
assuming that you can make some estimate of the CG, okay,
Okay.
and then what is the problem? So you'll have to find out the mean aerodynamic chord, right,
Yes, yes,
of
sir.
the tail plane. Only then you can get the quarter chord of that. Now
Yes.
this is going to be an irregular geometry.
Okay.
Now how we are going to do find out this mean aerodynamic chord is something which will be challenging.
But sir, you said it's symmetric aerofoil.
Symmetric aerofoil is the chord. Okay, the aerofoil looks symmetrical. See, it's a symmetrical airfoil, okay, that's all. But if you look at the plan view, if this is the fuselage, tail plane can be something like this,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So how do you find out the C double bar?
Yes, yes.
So you'll have to use, you can use MATLAB or whatever you want to do, okay?
Okay.
But do it logically.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it's not addressed to just Sanjay, it's for everyone. Okay, so it looks very simple that you would have used it all in your all your flight mechanics and all, but to actually calculate for a given aircraft, it's going to be difficult. Not very difficult. Uh, you have to use some tools. That's all. I am not aware of those tools. So you can take 2 weeks, Sanjay. Yeah?
Okay, sir.
So 2 weeks from now, you can submit the assignment for all groups. Definitely,
Okay.
it's not going to be the same value because aircrafts are different. Yeah, one good reference, I don't know whether you people have seen this book anytime. Observer's Basic Book of Aircraft. Uh, it gives not only military, even civilian aircrafts also. It's like a pocket book which gives a lot of data about the aircraft. In fact, for your aero design also, see, you people go for historical data whenever you're going for some new aircraft design. You try to see what has been designed earlier. This is a very good reference. Okay. I think one or the editions are available in LibGen also. You can just download it. Or the other one is, what is the other one? Any idea for historical data for aircraft? You all started your aero design, right?
The Jane, all the
Yeah, Janes. Okay, you can go for Janes. Observer's book is a very handy reference. It gives all three views with all the wing area and all the stuff. Okay, so that's assignment one. So after 2 weeks, you can submit it, and the same data you will be using for in subsequent classes for estimating some stability derivatives. Okay. Okay. These are something which should be at the back of your fingertips, like should be in your fingertips. Wing area, mean aerodynamic chord. Then there is standard mean chord. Find out what is the difference between these two. Aspect ratio. Okay. CG location, generally it's 10 to 40% of the mean aerodynamic chord. All ballpark figures. Okay. Especially for your interviews, and even when you are calculating for your avionics lab, uh, you will find these you just have to cross check whether it is lying somewhere in between in this range. Tail volume ratio, fin volume ratio. Then what is aerodynamic center? Why it is quarter chord? This sort of questions you will have to ask yourself. Okay. Then the next thing is all control surfaces. Notations used in this book. Elevator deflection. So this is the radar deflection and aileron deflection. Basic way to approach your problems. You will be solving a lot of numerical problems in this course. Just remember this: a positive control surface will result in a negative aircraft response. So what I mean by positive control surface is, suppose elevator is going down, okay, and this is the axis of the aircraft. The aircraft is going to, let's say this is the CG point. About the CG point, the aircraft is going to rotate. And rotate in what direction? It's going to rotate up or pitch up. So a positive elevator deflection will give pitch up attitude. Similarly, if you are rolling about this x-axis, you deflect this aileron down, then this aircraft is going to rotate in this direction. That is, looking from the cockpit, it's going to bank towards the left. Same way about the z-axis, this radar reflection is going to rotate the aircraft. Looking from top, it's going to be in the counterclockwise direction. So always a positive control surface deflection gives to a negative aircraft response. So in your transfer function, you will get this negative sign in the numerator. Okay, that's the reason for this negative sign. So we talked about numerator of S by denominator of S. So why this negative sign comes is because of the simple logic. Okay, that's something basic on the notations. Let's change over to the next PPT. Sanjay, can you see the slide system of axis and notation?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. First is Earth axis. Okay. So you initially start as if you are on the surface of the Earth, X pointing towards the north and Y pointing towards the east, and Z pointing towards the center of the Earth. Definitely we are not moving on the surface. The aircraft is going to fly above the surface. Only thing is this ZE and Z0 is still pointing in the same direction. But aircraft is now free to fly in any direction, and preference continues to be XE and YE. We'll change the nomenclature to northeast down shortly. Okay, but only difference is now it's not on the surface, it's going up. Suppose you are writing some equations for something which is moving on the surface of the Earth or any planet like Mars rover and all, there this ZE is going to be pointing toward the center of that particular planet planet, and then there is no movement in the vertical direction, or you assume it to be a flat surface. For all UAV sort of applications, we'll assume the Earth to be flat, okay? Though it is not going to be flat. Like you can't use this assumption for some missiles and all. It's just in this course, we assume it to be a flat plane surface. So OEXC, now aircraft can point towards any direction, not necessarily north. Then comes the body axis. In body axis, as the name implies, it's an axis system which moves along with the aircraft. And so the conventional thing is X direction is pointing towards the nose. Origin, mostly it is taken as CG, not necessarily always, but just for convenience in this course at least it will be with respect to CG. Y body is going to be in this directions towards the right and right wing. Okay, so this is OY. B subscript indicates that it's a body axis, and bottom and orthogonal to these two is Z body. Okay. And aircraft is going to fly with some angle of attack alpha E. Alpha E indicates that it is an equilibrium. Okay. And for every flight condition, this alpha E is going to have its own unique value, because that ultimately decides your lift. So CL alpha curve, so that's going to decide your lift and what velocity you're flying and at what altitude you're flying. For some, to make the analysis easier, at times we'll also be using wind axis. Wind axis is nothing but this. We assume that XB is vector. Okay. So that becomes the wind axis. Now, why do we use this? I'll just come to it shortly, the practical application of it. Next assumption is plane of symmetry. So on the XZ plane, on both sides, we assume that the aircraft is perfectly symmetrical. Now, this assumption might not be valid. Suppose it's let us say, a twin engine aircraft, and one engine fails. Definitely, you can't make this sort of assumption, okay, because thrust is not going to be symmetrical. Or any other condition where you people can think that this assumption will not be valid. Let us say for a fighter aircraft. A single engine fighter aircraft, where I can't use this assumption. Okay, I'll just draw the front view of a fighter aircraft. Can you guess when it is not valid?
Sir, when you use armament of right side and after
Ah,
some
that's
time.
what. No, it's not necessary that say, let us say, armament stations are 1, 2, 3, 4. When you fire one, let us say you have fired one, definitely this is not there. Okay, so it is no longer symmetrical. It's not necessary that 1 and 4 needs to be fired simultaneously or dropped simultaneously. Okay, so this cases you can't use this assumption. Just for your information, all modern generation aircrafts permit asymmetrical flying. Okay, so suppose you drop one and it's only 2, 3, 4. Still the aircraft, because of the uh, active the control technology, this sort of imbalance is taken care of. Okay. So there is no limitation that you have to fire in a particular sequence. And obviously, this thing is not valid for a quadcopter. Okay, it's not going to be symmetrical. Now, this notation should be clearly understood. So let's start with the velocity on the x. Now we are all talking about y axis. Okay, forward velocity is u. So in this direction, lateral velocity is v, small v. Velocity in the vertical direction is w, and w going down is positive. Okay, remember that it's not going up is positive. We are taking it down as positive. You roll about the x-axis with an angle. Suppose you are rolling at an angle phi. Roll angle is phi, and phi dot is p. So we'll be using rates, not absolute angles. Similarly, if you want to pitch up or pitch down, it is going to be theta, and theta dot becomes q. About the z-axis, you can yaw with an angle psi, and if you find the rate, it is r. Okay. So UVW PQR. Okay, this is something you have to remember and understand. Okay. Now going back to the previous slide was not there in Cook. Took it from some other book, but this one is from M.V. Cook only. So here, if you find the linear velocity, initially it was having some component u, v, w, all with subscript e. In the perturbed state, it becomes u, v, capital U, v, w. Moments during equilibrium, it is all zero. But the moment you want to disturb, it becomes LMN. So moments are LMN. Similarly, forces are X, Y, Z in the perturbed condition. Because under equilibrium, the net force is zero. Okay, that's why it is an equilibrium. Whereas when you perturb it, it's going to be X, Y, Z. So in addition to the velocities, you should know that three forces X, Y, Z, and moments are L, M, N. Corresponding moments are L, M, N. And pitch attitude need not be zero, okay? It can be theta e with respect to the horizon. So this is what the perturbation variables are. You're just upsetting the equilibrium and seeing what is the transient response. And we are using this right-handed system, axis system. So positive roll is right wing down, positive pitch is nose up, and positive yaw is nose to the right, seen by the pilot. Okay. Again, I'm just repeating it with different colors just to drive home this point, because the whole course is about these notations. So X is the force is nothing but the drag force. Okay. Then Y is side force. Z is lift force. Moments LMN. Correspondingly, rates PQR. Now, if you look at the axial velocities, it is if it is UVW, it has two components. One is the equilibrium component and then the perturbed velocity component, small u. So u in the perturbed state is, initially it was flying with some velocity ue, and then you have a small perturbation u. This can be positive or negative. Okay. So the important thing is it's having two components. Don't be under the impression that equilibrium means zero velocity. It is flying with some component velocity which is not changing. That's all. There is no acceleration during equilibrium. But the moment you disturb it, you are inducing some change in velocities, or some, definitely it is some acceleration which is going on. And that is because of the force. Same F is equal to ma, or L is equal to L is equal to I omega naught, either way. Okay. Now the some relationship uh, in the longitudinal plane. First is the horizon. Okay. With respect to Earth's horizon, you assume Earth to be flat. Okay. All those assumptions. Gamma E is the flight path angle. Now you have the velocity vector like this given by V naught. Body axis OX B is pointing towards this direction. So the angle between this velocity vector and the body axis, body x-axis is alpha E, which is the angle of attack. Just out of curiosity, some books use angle of incidence, angle of attack, and there is one more angle called the Rigger's angle. Okay. Just try to find out what it is. I am not going to tell you what it is. So is there any difference between all three, or it's all same? Okay. During the perturbation, what happens is, now the body is pitching up, so you have a perturbation variable theta. Okay. Now this theta is the perturbed body axis. Now, earlier UE was here, now it has become U because it's moving up. Similarly, WE is become W. And some special cases we'll assume at times. One is wind axis, which means alpha E is 0. And level flight is nothing but theta E is 0. So whenever they say straight and level flight means theta E with respect to the horizon, it is flying parallel to the horizon. And straight means obviously it's not moving in the directional plane, okay, lateral directional plane. That's what straight, and some problems will say straight and level flight. That's what it means. And wind axis is alpha E is equal to 0. So some derivations will use wind axis. Now the obvious question is, when do we use body axis and when do we use wind axis? Body axis is actual flight trials. Wind axis is what you're going to get from wind tunnel experiments. Actual flight trials, because all the sensors are going to be fitted onto the body axis. Okay. Uh, Whereas in the wind tunnel, you can always align your model so that theta e becomes 0 and then carry out some experiments. Few problems we will see. How you use wind tunnel to calculate some stability derivatives. But all flight trials, it's all body axis. Now, this Euler angle is nothing but how do you convert this data? Some data is coming from the body axis, but we want to change from body axis to the earth axis. So Euler angle is just a tool, you can say, to convert from one axis system to the other axis system. Again, this is just a repetition of your flight mechanics. When you talk about Euler angles, you follow a sequence. First, you rotate the aircraft. That is, you roll the aircraft. Then you can pitch with theta, and then you yaw, and so that you come to the final orientation. So this derivation I'm not going through. Okay, it's given in Cook also, and I think the first module in your flight mechanics, it's already there. So what is actually required is uh, you have a datum axis thing. You want to convert from body axis to datum axis. You have a direction cosine matrix D, which is going to do this job. So you can go from either datum to body or body to datum, depending on what application you're looking at. Then another term you have to be familiar is this coordinated turn, which means the aircraft is neither losing height nor gaining height while turning, as well as it's not side slipping. So there is no direction on the y, no movement about the y-axis. Side slip. So from the cockpit, you look at the resultant velocity is towards the right, then you call it as plus beta. Yes, positive side slip. And obviously the effect of vertical fin is it's going to see an angle beta, and this creates a force which tries to kill the beta. That is, the aircraft nose tries to align with the relative velocity. It's another, again, I've taken it from some other book. Uh, it, it gives a good feel of the all these angles. So this is the resultant velocity, which has three components: x, y, and z. The angle between, if you look at the xz plane, this angle is alpha. And if you are going to look down, that is on the xy plane, you'll get beta. So alpha and beta, just to give you a physical feel of what is this alpha and beta. And obviously, from coordinate geometry, you have this v is equal to u squared plus v squared plus w squared, whole square root. But what is important for us is these two relations. Alpha is equal to tan inverse w by u, vertical velocity by forward velocity. That's the way you remember it. And side slip is sine inverse v by the resultant velocity. So initially, first few modules we'll be using only this alpha. Yeah, I think I'll end with this because some another conference going on. Okay. So it's all introductory in nature. Tomorrow again I'll continue with these angles, and maybe next week onwards we'll start with the actual course. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.